That's an interesting number one selection. Mr. Ogden, what's the thinking behind that?
Yeah, they just got me on today just to cause trouble, haven't they? They just want to kind of spend a week getting me negative vibes on social media. Right, so this summer, I think that because Pep Guardiola's left Man City, I think this season is kind of up for grabs, because it feels like when Sir Alex Ferguson left Man United that everyone's kind of in the state of flux right now. Apart from Arsenal, we know that Arsenal are not in a state of flux. They've got stability, they've got a manager that's been there 5 or 6 years, they won the title last year. But I think Arsenal have got one way of playing, and I think opposition teams will begin to suss that out. I think Arsenal need to evolve a little bit more, and I don't think they're as far ahead of the Packers as they think they are. So Chelsea needed an experienced coach. They've got that. They needed experienced signings. They're going to bring Danny Welbeck in. They've brought in players already. They've brought in Morgan Rodgers. I think Chelsea, for me, without having Champions League or even European football as a distraction, have got a very good core of players. Certainly the 11, 12, 13 players who will be consistently their team. Now, obviously, they've got to replace Marc Cucurella, who's gone to Real Madrid. But because this season is so hard to predict, different because of what I've just said about the state of flux, I think Chelsea could really go all the way. Spurs will challenge for the top four, I think, because same reasons that Chelsea are going to be up there. Man United leapt from 15th, 16th to the top three last season, so it's there to be taken. City, I don't think will drop off that much under Enzo Maresca. I don't think they'll win it, but they've got Erling Haaland, they've got Elliot Anderson coming in. They've still got people like Donnarumma in goal. So I think Chelsea could go all the way. I think when they won it last, I think under Antonio Conte, they'd had a terrible season the year before, but they were out of Europe. They had an experienced coach who get everything together. Chelsea got a lot of talent, and I think if that talent is harnessed properly by Xabi Alonso, they can win the league.
That's the case for the defence. Stevie Nicola, you can have the case for the prosecution as to why Chelsea will not win the league.
Can't argue with anything Augie said.
Whoa.
Real nice, honestly. Other than Arsenal, I 100% agree with Augie. Everybody's got questions. Sorry, the prosecutor's got nothing.
I rest my case.
You were asking Villa and Newcastle to get new lawyers, and now you say the prosecution's got nothing.
Well, I think the key is that they've got no European football. I mean, we saw Manchester United last season, and with all due respect, Chelsea have got way better players, in my opinion, than Manchester United. And so you bring in Alonso in, you've got rid of this seemingly nonsense about just bringing in young guys. You've seen the light. So there's every possibility that Chelsea could be up there challenging. I certainly wouldn't turn around and say they're going to win it, but I wouldn't have any sort of argument really to push back on could they win it? Well, yes, they could, because other than Arsenal, everybody else has got questions, including Liverpool, who've got more questions probably than most. So
Mark,
you're not going to find me arguing much with Augie.
Can I just add, Mark, as well? And we don't know how this is going to play out. During the World Cup, we saw lots of new rules coming in. Certainly, time wasting on throw-ins, time wasting with goalkeepers going down for treatment, and a lot more kind of scrutiny on corners. Now, again, this is going to get me lots of stick from Arsenal fans, but it is what it is. Arsenal last season benefited from exploiting those loopholes, but those loopholes have been closed. If those kind of new developments are kind of taken out of the Premier League and the referees are strict with those, that will hurt Arsenal. It will hurt them if they can't, be as physical at corners and as, taking 2 or 3 people to take a throw in, just tossing the ball to each other and taking 5 minutes to take a throw in. So these new rules won't help Arsenal either. Now, obviously, as the champions, they will be expected to defend their title. But as Stevie knows, he's, having been at Liverpool all those years ago, defending a title is hard. Not many teams have done it. Arsenal never did it under Arsene Wenger. So, and add to that the fact you've got people like Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, Bukayo Saka, all the Spain players in the squad. They're going to come back from the World Cup late. They're going to have 3 weeks off. To the start of the season, they won't be ready. So there's a lot of reasons why Arsenal won't be as formidable as they were last year because of circumstances that are against them. Whereas the circumstances favour Chelsea, they favour Tottenham. We don't know what Man United are going to be like. We don't know what Liverpool are going to be like. I think Liverpool have got more chance of being up there than Man United because they've still got people that underperformed so much last season that if Isak and Wirtz suddenly click under a good coach in Areola, then they can challenge. But Areola's never managed a big club before. He's never managed a team in the Champions League before. So there's so many question marks over these teams. I just think that Chelsea have got a very good coach in place now with a point to prove after what happened at Real Madrid. For me, they are a genuine contender to win the title.
That was a decent case for the defence for Arsenal, because that was going to be the question. Hold on, the champions here, who weren't champions simply because they were able to waste more time than anybody else. They were champions because they were the best team, and you've got them going from first to third. Stevie's already spoken about 6 players that Liverpool probably need to sign, or 6 areas that they need to strengthen. For me, there's a lot more questions about them than there is about Arsenal, who might have a couple of players coming back late from the World Cup, but the Premier League starts a week later anyway. So I think there's fewer questions for Arsenal, and you've got them going from first down to third, Chelsea going ahead of them, and Manchester City.
Saliba's out for we don't know how long. So basically, David Raya going to be back late. You're going to have people like Zubimendi's back late. You've got Saka back late. You've got a lot of players who Declan Rice needs a rest. I just think that a lot of reasons point towards Arsenal having a tougher year this year than last year, and not many teams defend the Premier League title. Not many have done it.
Yeah, throw in history.
Yeah.
Stevie, who's going to win the title?
I don't know.
Let's say Liverpool.
No idea. I haven't a clue, honestly. I think after a World Cup year, it's really difficult to figure out. Mm-hmm. You know, Augie's talking about Arsenal, but a lot of other teams who are in worse off positions, like Liverpool, what are they going to start the season with in terms of a starting 11? So it really does take a long time after a World Cup for things to settle down and some sort of pattern emerging. And that's one of the reasons, again, why I think Chelsea, with a new manager, with new signings, there seems to be an air of expectation and excitement around Chelsea that there isn't in too many other clubs. So yeah, I think it's going to be between now and Christmas before we figure out who's who and who's going to be where and who are title contenders and who are just pretenders. I think after World Cup, it's very, very difficult to figure it out. Really.
Whatever that means, normal. Who knows? Right, we're going to start with transfers. Dominoes are falling into place ahead of what could be the biggest transfer saga of the summer. Real Madrid, not for the first time, are at the heart of it all. So too is Chris Reedy, and he's going to explain everything because there's, like I said, lots of things to get into place, isn't there? There's we've got Vinicius Junior, we've got Yan Diomande, we've also got Arsenal. So do the jigsaw.
Yes, so Yan Diomande, he might be wearing a white shirt by the end of this week, but could Vinicius Junior be wearing a red one? I guess that's what all Premier League fans, well, some, maybe not Spurs, most Premier League fans would like. But look, let's talk about Yan Diomande. Real Madrid are in pole position to get this signing done from RB Leipzig. At the moment, they've had about €100 million proposal turned down. But at the moment, like I said, they are the team that's in pole position. We know that Liverpool have previously been interested, Man City as well. PSG withdrew from the race on Sunday, citing that the transfer fee is too big. That's not how they do business anymore. The likes of Messi, Neymar, that transfer strategy's gone. So it looks pretty clear with Diomande. He has been training with RB Leipzig today. He's still very much their player. But at the moment, like I said, Real Madrid in pole position. Now, what does that mean for this man? One of the biggest stars in global football, Vinicius Junior. Can Real Madrid see a world? Can Jose Mourinho see a world where these two fit in together? That all depends on if a new contract can be signed, because he's got 1 year left on his deal. What we do know is that Real Madrid do not want to let him go for free at the end of the season, which makes sense because you're talking about a £100 million player, maybe even more. Some reports out there saying that Vinicius Junior is rated at around £200 million. The only thing with that is he's got that year left on his deal. So obviously a deal you'd think would be able to be brought down lower than that. But like I said, they are in talks at the moment, Real Madrid and Vinicius Junior. But they're not just recent talks. These talks have been ongoing for a while. We know big clubs like Real Madrid, they don't like to do deals this close to the line. When you've got a superstar like that at 100 million. What does it mean for Arsenal, though? It means that Arsenal are really, really interested in bringing Vinicius Junior to the Premier League if a deal can be done. Mikel Arteta and Berta, huge fans of Vinicius Junior. And because he's got that year left, it does mean that there is a possibility on the table where it could be done. At the moment, though, we think Vinicius, his preference would be to stay at Real Madrid. But if a deal can't be agreed, then Arsenal will try and get the player. However, we're talking about someone who's going to command a wage of about £450,000 to £500,000 a week. Now, Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, they're Arsenal's most paid players at the moment. This would blow that out of the water. But you're talking about, like I said, a Galactico, a real global star, and someone who Mikel Arteta is viewing as someone who can play in that left-wing position, because we know they missed out on Morgan Rogers. He was the #1 target. He's gone to Chelsea for over 100 million. Might this be the new realistic proposition for Arsenal? It's going to be an interesting week following this one, I think.
From Leonardo Trossard to Vinicius Junior. I mean, yeah.
It's big, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Look, remarkable one, talented one. I mean, I don't know what you call him, but what about the special one? Because he's at the heart of this as well. So how does Jose Mourinho fit into all this?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because primarily these two players play in the same position on the left wing. But Real Madrid, the biggest club in the world, I think, can be argued, haven't won the Champions League for a while. La Liga performances have been bad. So Jose Mourinho has been building a bit of a super squad. But it's just how these two can fit in. If we kind of have a look now at where Diamande's been playing, the majority or some of his football for RB Leipzig, we know he's a right-footed player that comes in off the left. But actually, if you see it from this graphic here, he has played a lot of his football down the right in the Bundesliga for Leipzig last season. So you could see a world where Vinny's here and Diamande's here. But you do think, actually, the way he plays, when you see a lot of his goals, the preference, I think, for Diamande will be to play on this left-hand side. But like we said, if you're trying to build the super squad who can go and win the Champions League, you need competition. Let's have a look where Diamande played his games in the World Cup, where he would have really come onto the big stage, where he would have been seen by a lot of our fans. It's that position that Vinicius Junior takes up. It's that, how many goals do we see Vinicius Junior in the World Cup come off that side and bend one into the top corner? Diamande, he can do that. He likes to do that. He's both-footed, but that is primarily what he likes to do as well. So look, let's see how it would stack up if this deal gets done. Potential deal of over £100 million. This is the sort of thing that Jose Mourinho and his coaches will be wondering, how do I fit all of these guys into the equation? I mean, it's a great problem to have, isn't it? If you want to get the best out of Vinicius, do you have Diamande, who is only, by the way, 19 years old, so maybe not expecting to come in straight in to a Real Madrid squad with the likes of Bellingham, with the likes of Rodrigo, Mbappe. It's quite a big ask for a young man to come in and play alongside Bellingham, play alongside Rodrigo, and just fit in straight away. So, I mean, if you're talking about a role model, that guy is a perfect role model for Diamande. But, I mean, if you see there and there, I think Diamande on the right and Vinicius on the left, Mbappe in the middle, Bellingham just behind, that to me feels like a Champions League winning attack.